Welcome back to Citizen the Pod. It's your girl, Keina Zontel. I'm hoping all my patriots out there are getting energized and ready to vote on November 6th. I know many of you should be aware that the deadline to register to vote for the November 6th midterm election is coming upon us quite quickly in quite a few different states. I believe Pennsylvania is the 6th. I believe New York is the 7th or the 8th. But if you don't know, you should definitely go ahead and Google that information and find out when the deadline is and make sure that your tribe is registered to vote. Again, you know how we do it. It's Citizen the Pod. I got a guest, I got a homie on the line ready to talk about how we need to be investing in ourselves, our communities, into candidates that we want to see. The Black Chamber of Commerce just did a report that basically said that Black entrepreneurship is up and that it's booming. So I need all of us to take advantage of this climate, okay? I need all of us to just decide to want to be a part of this moving thing. Now, first off, don't just go quitting your job tomorrow. You may want to take it a little bit slower than that. I understand the Dame Dash motto, go big or go home, but Damon John said sometimes it's better to just work hard, grind it out, keep your job and work on your dream, because that way you're learning from your mistakes. You're taking those skills and getting experience it takes to be successful out here on these streets. I don't know who's better to listen to. They're both millionaires, but we're going to talk to my friend James, who's on the line, who's going to tell us about how to take our dreams to a next level. All right, James, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to have you on the show. This is a pivot for me. Usually I'm talking solely about politics, but money plays an important role in politics. Fundraising is important, and making small donations is important. And how do we do that? By creating Black wealth, creating Black businesses. So let's talk a little bit about it. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Oof, that's a tough one. A little bit about myself. Well, I am from Buffalo. Um, I have a few degrees. I have an undergrad in accounting, I have an MBA, and I have a PhD in business organizational leadership, all but dissertation. Um,
Nice.
I own 12 businesses.
Oh,
And yeah, I'm not sure if you knew that or not, but yeah, I own 12 businesses. And I dabble in everything economics. So from my water business to my fashion line to real estate, I'm always interested in the finances of it, because at the end of the day, that's what we have to rely on are those numbers.
right.
So each one of my businesses is its own entity, but I make sure I'm well versed in the finances of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I live in Atlanta, so it's I love it down there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love it down there. It's an opportunity for everybody that looks like me, sounds like me, can actually progress like me, and we all
Mm-hmm.
help each other. We all help each other. There is no crab in a bucket mentality, if you will. We
Mm-hmm.
all like to say, okay, well, you know what, you're doing good. Let us do good. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
That's awesome. So how do you stay focused on taking these businesses to the next level? Because it sounds like you don't feel like you're pulling yourself in too many different directions, spread a little too thin. How do you stay focused?
I have a good team around me, so everything I do, I always say, okay, well, this is good. I can capitalize on this, but who can help me run this? Because this
Mm-hmm.
person needs to help me run that. So if I'm focusing on this, I don't have to worry about that. So everything that I do, I'm always shifting my mindset. I never let one business interfere with the other business. So if I'm working on a client that has the MBA license, I'm not focused on my water business, because the two doesn't correlate.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to worry about my mind drifting off about this, because I'm not talking about that.
Right.
And if I do talk about that, I just text one of my partners, hey, this needs to be handled by you, because I'm doing that.
Right.
So I always have to have a good team around you, and a good team has to understand that there is no one leader and a bunch of followers. Not we all leaders. I
Right.
can't if I'm doing this with the water, but as you know, this week I'm in Buffalo. I
Uh-huh.
can't do things in Atlanta right now.
Right.
So my partner is taking care of that.
Mm-hmm.
They called me today. Hey, we have a huge vending opportunity to be into vending machines with the next opportunity next to Coke. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be there for that, so they got that. So
Right.
you have to have a nice team to make sure that you're capable of handling everything without being bogged down.
Right. I mean that cliche phrase, there is no I in team. It takes a village to raise a child, raise an idea. So, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. So, I kind of talked a little bit about these conflicting ideals. Should someone decide to, quit their job and just run towards their dream, or should they keep a job? Now, I want to say that for those who know a little bit about me, know that I have done both. Like right now, I'm in a position in my life where I've decided to go back to work in order to fund the dream. But I've also been that person who was able to. I had a business that I recently closed down. That, hey, it was open for 2 years and it did well in that time. But I decided to go in a different direction. So I feel like I've done both. But what's your take on that? So someone just decide to give it all they got and focus all their energy on their dreams and quit a job? Or should they kind of, go the slow and steady route?
I'm glad you asked that. And people got it messed up.
Okay.
People got it messed up. Simple. So here's the thing: whenever you want to go and do a business, we are already behind the eight ball because we don't know what we're doing. And I say we as Black people, we don't know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Where everyone has a great idea, right? So, being in the accounting field as well, I ask everyone who has a business, I can answer the question for them. So I'm setting them up for failure. I'm setting them up for failure on purpose because I
Mm-hmm.
want them to know you're already behind the eight ball,
Right.
right? They don't like you. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're trying to step into their territory, they're not going to help you. So
Mm-hmm.
I ask every person I talk to, do you have a business? Either they say yes or no. If the answer is yes, I say, let me guess, you have an LLC, don't you? They always say, absolutely. So then I say, okay, cool. How was your LLC taxed? I don't know. Why do you not know how your business is taxed?
Real. Okay.
That's the first problem. The
Mm-hmm.
second problem is if you want to go out and quit your job and handle everything that you want to handle and basically saying, I'm going to make this work by hell or high water, you got to do it the right way. And the right way is having your business set up. And while you're working that W-2 job, invest in business credit.
Mm-hmm.
When you invest in business credit, your issue doesn't become, I don't have the money to pay the bills. Now it's like, you know what? I have this business credit. Okay, cool. My personal credit, if it's not good, fix your personal credit. Now your business credit can go out and get $100,000, $200,000 in actual capital without having to worry about a million people telling you no, because your business credit is established. If you
Okay.
if you need a personal guarantor, you become your own personal guarantor because you fixed your credit. So now your credit score is in the 700s. Now, if you're focusing on quitting your job, that tells me you have the mentality to become an entrepreneur, but you may not have the knowledge to become an entrepreneur. So I
Right.
tell everybody, if you pay federal taxes, go exempt. Go exempt on those federal taxes. Use that money to empower your business. Build that business up off of the federal tax because it's a write-off anyway. So at the end of the year,
Right.
when we sit down, you're going to get the same dollar amount, if not more, back on your taxes because now we have bigger write-offs. So
Interesting.
to your point, absolutely, if you're going to quit your job, if that's what you want to do it the way to where you're protected because once you quit your job, you have no net to catch you when you fall. And the problem about falling, you will fall until something stops you. That something may be bankruptcy, it may be homelessness, it may be
Right.
reality, but
Right.
none of those things like you.
Mm.
That's the reality of it.
Interesting. So, how does one go about creating business credit?
If all right, YouTube is great for points, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, what is business credit? Go to YouTube. They're going to explain it in theory, in detail, but at the end of the day, you don't really know how to do it, right? You need to get with
Mm-hmm.
someone who understands that. So you can sit down with him or her and they can actually build your business credit up. Now, in a nutshell, business credit, you have to get your DUNS number. You have to build your DUNS number out. Your DUNS number is issued by Dun & Bradstreet. You have to get your Experian business credit. You have to get your Equifax business credit. You have to understand what a Paydex score is. You have to understand what makes your Paydex score effective. You have to understand that as a business, as soon as you get these things established, no one's going to report for you. This is not personal credit. Everything is reported for you. Business credit, you have to report yourself for the most part. So let's take an example. You and I are doing business together, right?
Right.
You call me, you said, James, I want to do business. But I need credit. I can issue you a trade line with whatever I see that you need, whatever I deem possible. You can get a trade line from me of $100,000 to $1 million. Why not? There's nothing stopping me. So by doing that, you call Dun & Brad. You say, hey, this company, whichever company I give you, this phone number, they're my vendor. They will call me. They being Dun & Brad will call me. They say, do you do business with Keina? Yes, or whatever business name you have. What is your credit limit with her? I issued her a credit line of $500,000. What are your payment terms? Net 30. Has she ever been late? No. What is the highest credit limit? What's the highest limit that she's ever owed you? $500,000. All these numbers, I'm telling them. There's no one that's going to verify this but me or whomever is on the other line.
Right.
Now, with business credit, you can only establish a Dun & Brad with another reporting agency that reports to Dun & Brad. So my company has to be reporting as well as your company because now we both are validated. Right. So by doing that, now if you want to get an American Express card, for example, American Express pulls your business credit, and you do this, you only need three vendor trade lines on your business credit to establish a Paydex score. Your Paydex score is equivalent to your credit score for those who is not getting that correlation. Okay. Your Paydex score goes from 0 to 100. Anything over an 80 Paydex score is great. So if I give you 3 vendor trade lines from each one of my companies, right, from 3 of my companies, now you have a Paydex score that's well over an 80. I'm giving you trade lines of $500,000 a piece. So now if you want that American Express Black card, or you want that unlimited whatever card, and they pull your business credit, they say, oh, they're used to handling $500,000, $1.5 million. I can give them an unlimited credit card. They're good. Or a bank is going to say, oh, I can lend them $200,000. Yeah, because their history has showed that they actually prove that. And all of that is being validated by you and your own vendor sources. So when you say, how do you build business credit? You use the people that you know that have businesses, and you sit down and you build business credit amongst yourself. And then grow from there.
Okay. So is there any tip that you would give? Like what do you think? What is like the first thing an entrepreneur should do when they start their business? Like, what's the first thing to do?
It's a great question. The first thing you should do is talk to a professional that understands what you're trying to do. So a lot of people come to me and they say, hey, James, I want to start a business. And I was thinking about starting, whatever business. So my first question is, okay, well, let's register your business. What state? And they say, well, whatever state they live in. I say, well, why? Because I live there. I'm like, that's a dumb reason to do anything. The average person does not live where they were born at. So what makes you think your business has to be where you're at? It doesn't. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is sit down and figure out which state is going to benefit you the most. If you come to me and you say, hey, I want to open up a casino, I'm not going to recommend Delaware. I'm going to recommend Nevada, right? But if you come to me and say, you know what, eventually I want to go public. I want to go public and I want to offer pre-IPO in 2 years and go IPO in 3 years. Then I'm going to mention Delaware because 65% of companies on NASDAQ is in Delaware. So that tells me that state protects companies like that. But if you tell me, no, I'm going to stay private. I'm going to stay private and I really hate paying taxes, right? I'm going to say Wyoming. They're the only state that truly has no state taxes. Every state, your Nevadas, Texas, and Floridas, they don't have any state taxes to a certain extent. But there are state issues that they come around where you have to pay, where Wyoming truly has none. Okay. So you only have to register with the state or actually let that state know you're doing business within that state if you have a brick and mortar facility. If you're online, if you have an online business and you're just drop shipping, or if you're just doing whatever you're doing online, that state has no ties to tell you how much money to pay them in taxes. Doesn't work that way.
Wow.
Which is why none of these states like Amazon, because Amazon,
Right? Because I was about to say that's why Jeff Bezos is worth $350 billion or something crazy.
correct. So what Amazon did is said, okay, cool. You think I got to pay you? Take me to court, fight me. Basically, I'm Amazon. You're just little peon states. But I don't. It doesn't matter to me if all of you guys gang up on me, because what state am I in? The only state Amazon is truly in is the state that they have brick and mortar buildings at. So they have brick and mortar buildings in Georgia. So they have to pay state taxes on those buildings in Georgia. But if I buy something in New York and they're not in New York, I am responsible for paying those taxes whatever I buy. Amazon's not. So the internet spawned the Amazon rule.
Right.
Which is why even with my water, as popular as it's getting, I'm drop shipping everything.
Okay.
I don't have a brick and mortar location. So when Kroger calls me to pick up my water, okay, it's coming right from the manufacturer to Kroger. It never touches me. So what I got to pay you taxes for? Sounds nice.
Right.
I'm not paying you. And if you don't like it, I'll pull Amazon into my case against you that you're trying to get money out of me. Because now when you're in business, the business community has your back, because what you do, I'm mocking you. So if I'm wrong, you're wrong.
Right.
So I can actually say, based on Amazon law, blah, 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 you can't do this, because if I have to pay, then I'm going to make them pay. And they don't want to pay either, because they got to pay a lot more than I got to pay.
Yeah. So you had mentioned early on, a lot of people just go ahead and set up LLCs. And I guess not understanding that there are nuances to an LLC structure. What are those nuances? Because you mentioned, you're an LLC, but you don't know how you're taxed. So does that mean there are different kinds of LLCs?
Not different kinds of LLCs, but there are different ways to tax anything. I'm sure you heard of the analogy, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right?
Yes.
So if you're an LLC right now, straight up, let me back up for a second. Any business that's created has the right to tell the IRS how they want to be taxed. If you don't, you have 75 days to do this. In theory, you have an infinite amount of time to do it. But if you don't do it within 75 days, you have to fill out more paperwork, which is here nor there, but it can be done. If you don't do it, the IRS is going to revert to the best way to tax for them.
Okay.
So as a single member LLC, which is one person creating an LLC, the average person, they say, oh, I went to LegalZoom, I went to Secretary of State, I'm good, I'm covered. Okay, so you paid your little fee, but you don't even know what you're doing. You're not covered, because when I say how you're taxed, you say I don't know, that means I know. Because that tells me the IRS already set you up for failure. You don't even know they set you up for failure.
So is this let me one question, is that a sole proprietorship?
It is taxed like a sole proprietorship, but it's not a sole proprietorship.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. So what I advise people, hey, what do you want to be taxed as? And don't do it yourself. Everything is not made to do it yourself. Because if you do it yourself, and I got my LLC, I pay my $100 to $200, I got my LLC, I save money. You think you save money until you file your taxes.
Right. In the long run, it comes back to bite you.
Absolutely, it does. 100% of the time. So this is what I tell people. Rule number 1 in business: if you're filing a Schedule C on your taxes, you're already on the radar to be audited. It just hadn't been your turn yet.
Okay. Interesting. Now, what's the Schedule C for all those who don't know?
I hate to put it like this. That's the schedule that they use to trap people into think they're protected by having a business, but you're not. Schedule
so
C.
Does that mean someone can sue you? Is that what you mean by protected?
When I say protected, when I use the word protected, yes, someone can sue you. Think about it like this, right? You become an LLC and you do hair, right? So what that tells me is, okay, cool, you're an LLC. So, but your automatic filing status is that of of a sole prop or a sole proprietorship. So when you're filling out your Schedule C, all of your business information goes on there, and then your write-offs and everything like that. So if I go to sue you, that means I have to pull your personal taxes because that's what you filed your business on. Why in the
Oh.
world do you want the world to see your personal information? From you,
Mm-hmm.
you don't. So try to sue me. You first of all, you can't sue James Williams because James Williams is not allowed to be sued because I'm protected by all of my businesses. So you want to sue
Mm-hmm.
one of my businesses, you go after the business, but it's going to stop as soon as you get to that page that says Schedule K1. It's none of your concern. Your concern is that
Mm-hmm.
1120S. So go sue that. But I'm protected because I am not breaching what they call the corporate veil.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. And see, like, so this is why I'm, the next question is, it's so important to network. Like, how important is it to be networking with other business professionals?
It's very important. The problem with people is they believe by networking it makes them weaker because
Mm.
people become offended if they don't know. But shoot, I tell people every day, I wasn't born with this. I didn't just wake up like, hey man, listen, I'm 2 years old. I can talk now. Mom, you did everything you can do. Check this out. I had to learn like everybody else had to learn it. So,
Right.
and I'm learning every day. I talk to people like yourself and Brittany, and I talk to you guys because I don't know politics. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit down with you guys and you guys will run gamuts around me. Why would I sit there and pretend like I know more than you when I don't?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I believe, and this is how I actually operate. If you've made, or anybody on this planet has made one more dollar than me in anything that you're talking to me about, I cannot give you advice on that. You made more money than me. How can I tell you how to make more money? I can't. I
Mm-hmm.
could never tell you, hey, you know what? You want to run a campaign? This is what you do. I've never run a campaign.
Right.
I've never made a dollar. No one has ever gave me money to run a campaign. How can I tell you what to do?
Right.
And
Right.
that's the problem. People aren't self-aware enough.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're not
Oh.
self-aware, you're setting yourself up for failure because you feel I know more than this person because this person is whoever.
Right.
When in fact, if you're self-aware, I know what I know, but you know more than me. So you and I become partners. Now I know what you know.
Great. Yeah. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. I've been blessed to meet some really great people who've had knowledge in a plethora of areas. And if it wasn't for being building those relationships and being able to make those phone calls, I would be so much worse off. So I agree with you there, in so many ways. Government and politics and business is extremely intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the tax code to, are they going to raise your taxes or lower taxes when a certain group is in office or in power? And just creating can government create a favorable business climate? So would you say that 45, the president, the man whose name I will just do not even like
Okay.
uttering, do you think he's created a a favorable business climate, especially for Black entrepreneurs?
I do. I honestly believe he has. The
Mm.
problem is he has a lot of very good information. The problem is he doesn't deliver it well. So people, I'm sure everyone's mama said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
So the dude now I'm only speaking from business and how to conduct it as far
Mm-hmm.
as what he's done. Because all in all, I mean, no, he's not a good president. He's not a good person.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bad person. So I'm just speaking on a very finite number of points. That's it.
Right.
Like, so what he's done from a business standpoint is he again followed the leader, right? In business, we're all together. So in business, Trump is my fellow businessman, even though I
Mm-hmm.
think the dude's a jerk. But
Mm-hmm.
he's also your fellow businessman, which means whatever he's doing, if you do what he does, you're just as protected as he is. So
Right.
everyone's saying, I don't want to pay taxes like Trump. Well, first of all, you don't make $1 billion, so you can't. You have to live in your reality. Your
Mm-hmm.
reality is if you want to do what he did, get a business that allows carryover losses and lose a lot of money and carry it over until that number hits zero. That's all he did. He just did it
Mm.
on a bigger scale.
Right.
So, yeah, and also him lowering the top tax bracket for companies down to 21%. Are you serious? Yo, listen, you just saved 14 to 18% on federal taxes. Absolutely, he set you up for greatness. The problem is the average person doesn't understand the corporate tax law. So they're just as confused as that. It's like, oh, well, what Trump did is this, or what he did is that. Yeah, he did. However, you have to look at how he benefits you and take advantage of that. Because all in all, he doesn't like you. He really doesn't like you. He likes himself. He's a narcissist to the fullest.
To the core.
So if he likes himself, everything he's doing is for self-gratification, which means you have to look at what he's doing and say, I want to do business. I need to follow that because I want to pay 21% taxes. I don't want to pay more than that. And trust me, you don't.
Right.
So yeah, I think from that aspect, he has set up a positive platform. Everything else is just like, it's falling apart.
So have Black entrepreneurs gained more access to bank loans?
No.
And so, I mean, because I'm thinking like in terms of banking, have we seen an improvement under this administration?
Absolutely not. It's not, and this is actually not 45's fault, because what he did is actually loosen up the guidelines for those bank loans. So he's actually helping entrepreneurs more than you think.
Okay.
So what Obama did, he tightened those guidelines because of what happened in 2008. He had no choice. I mean, let's just be honest. At 26, I bought a $250,000 house because I said I made a lot of money.
Right.
Whether I did or not is irrelevant. They never asked for proof.
Right.
It was like, oh, $250,000, 26, you look like you're smart. Here. So, yeah, he had to tighten it up. So by Trump loosening it up, it allowed us to try to get more money, no question. Absolutely. However, the guidelines are still in place that we have to adhere to. Black people, on average, don't adhere to these guidelines because your credit is not good enough. Right. And if your credit is good enough, you don't understand. You don't want these type of loans on your credit ever. You take $200,000 and put it on your credit. That's a mortgage that you got to pay off in 5 years. Do you really want that on your credit? You don't. Right. Now, let's hypothetically say you can pay that. Your credit still becomes overloaded because now your debt to income ratio is about to become a factor.
Yeah.
So that's why you want it in business world is 100% opposite from personal. Business, they don't care about how much debt you have. You had $1 billion in debt. Great. How much? What's your revenue? Oh, right. My revenue is $5 million, and you want to borrow $1 million. That makes sense. Cool. Here, have more debt, because they understand debt. You need debt to operate in the business world until you become your Googles or your Apples or whatever. But personally, yeah, try that personally. Try it.
Right. Really, that's why 45 said, I love debt.
Right. I love debt. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to pay debt. I tell people, listen, I've had a plethora of conversations about bankruptcy, and I have these with Black people because Black people are set up. We're set up to fail. Anything that's good for you, we're told is bad. So, okay, cool. I asked a person, hey, you filed bankruptcy. My credit's messed up. Your credit's already messed up. You got a 406. What are you going to buy? Right. I was going to say my credit for 7 years. So you telling me right now you have a 7-year plan to not file bankruptcy and get out of this mess you're in now? I highly doubt it, because you don't make enough money to. Now, filing bankruptcy, in theory, you get rid of all of your debt, you pay nobody back, and your credit is messed up. But your credit's already messed up. Everybody knows someone that fixes credit. And anyone that fixes credit will tell you getting a bankruptcy off your credit is a lot easier than getting an active account off your credit. Because bankruptcy courts are not set up to verify bankruptcies. So they may verify the first time, but if you ask them more in-depth questions like, did this person actually come down? Did you actually see him? Is this person actually holding this bankruptcy in your file? They can't answer that. They're not set up for that. So they just stop answering, and it comes off your credit. And you have no more debt anyway.
Interesting.
It's a lot easier to file bankruptcy to get your credit score to a 750 than it is trying to do it your way. And not your way as in you, but your way as in the average person.
Wow. Well, look, citizens, I know that I just learned a whole lot from listening to James talk about just these about credit and businesses and how to operate in 2018 under a Trump presidency. I mean, it can be a lot and it can be a little daunting, but go out here and find someone to talk to. I'm hoping that is what you really got from this show. If you couldn't understand everything that we talked about, go out there and talk to a professional. Get out here and network with like-minded people who are going to be willing to lead you in the right direction, even when they don't have the answers. James, how do folks get in touch with you in order to learn more, especially about taxes and starting up businesses? Are you on social media?
I am on social media. I'm not as active as I should be because, I mean, my life, I'm like exceedingly too busy. But they can always call me on my cell phone and just mention you. Otherwise, I'm going to say I don't know you. So they
Now,
can
you
call.
sure you want to give your cell phone number out? You sure you just don't want to drop them in the inbox on Facebook or something?
We could do that. It doesn't really matter to me because at the end of the day, I'm here for the people.
Oh, okay. Well,
So it doesn't. Yeah, it's easier to
let the people know how to reach you. Go.
So my cell phone number. This is my personal cell phone number. It's 678-464-0392. All that I ask is that you send me a text first. Hey, this is such and such. I heard you through Keina, so I know who you are. Other than that, it's going to be me trying to figure out who you are, and takes too long. Also, I would like to let me ask you this.
Go ahead and let the people put Citizen the Pod. I heard you talking to Keina Zontel. I'm trying to get that business knowledge. Okay, people, send that text message. Where else? Is there an email address? Instagram, Facebook, any of that they should know?
It is, but I'm not really active on it as I should be.
Okay.
Because the easier is to reach me through someone that I know, like yourself, or hit me direct. And I will say one last thing is the biggest thing in business is partnerships, right? So if you want to own, I don't know, I'm just going to throw something out. If you want to own a medical practice, you don't have to go to medical school. You have to partner with somebody who went to medical school. So once you become a partner, you automatically encompass every title that they have is now yours. So just throw that out there. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to find someone who owns the wheel, and now you own the wheel.
Right. Or a piece of the wheel.
That's it.
Something like that.
That's it.
Well, folks, y'all know how to reach me when you're trying to reach James. So you can hit me on Facebook at Keina Zontel. You can hit me on Instagram at The Surge 2018. You can hit me on Twitter at Citizen the Pod and at The Surge 2018. I'm hoping that you all have become a little bit more enlightened. I know I have a ton of friends. We're all entrepreneurs in our different ways and in different areas. We all just feed off each other all the time. If you all know my spiel. We don't have no power and no place and nowhere to go if we don't start getting out here and vote. If we don't become entrepreneurs and start investing in our communities, start investing in candidates who are actually planning to move our dreams and our needs forward. I'll be making donations and talking about that before the November 6th midterm elections, because there are just some candidates that I know that I want to see win out here in these streets. The midterm elections is around the corner. So if you're not registered to vote, if your tribe is not registered to vote, I suggest you get out here and Google for that deadline because it is upon us. And yeah, James, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. I'm glad you had me.
And again, folks, let's get it together. We can send 100,000 men and women to war. We can send 100,000 citizens to vote. This was Citizen the Pod.